Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be on Lucy's birth, like whole labor birth experience. I'm going to be inserting pictures and stuff, nothing like showing anything sexual, obviously because labor's not sexual, blah. But if that does trigger you, you should probably not watch this, just in case. Start off by saying that ever since I found out I was pregnant with Lucy, I knew exactly the day I was going to have her. I don't know why. I just knew it. It's October 11th, 2017. That's the day she was born. And ever since I found out I was pregnant, I just, for some reason, knew October 11th, that's when I'm going to give birth, even though my due date was October 8th. So I did have her at 40 weeks and 3 days. But I just thought that was pretty cool. Mom's intuition. Oh, the day started off like this. At 5 a.m. I woke up and I was like, I'm going into labor today. I just know it. So I called her dad and I told him that I was going to go into labor, so he better be ready. And he was like, no, you're insane. You can't just pick when you're going into labor. I was like, no, I know I'm going into labor. Trust me. So he woke up and got ready. And at about 8 a.m. I started having contractions. So I called him again and his stepmom was next to him. And she said that they sounded like real contractions and I should probably head to the hospital. But I was like, I'm just gonna take a bath. I'm just gonna take a bath and see what happens. So I decided to take a bath and it was like a 30-minute bath and I had 4 or 5 contractions while I was in the bath. So it's the real deal. I tried to wake my mom up. It took 3 tries to get her out of bed. Mind you, the night before we were also at the hospital because I thought my water broke, which it did, but the lady just, you know, she was like, no, it looks like pee or something stupid. It wasn't pee. My water was leaking all throughout the week. That actually led up to labor. I know that now. I didn't know that at the time, but I know it now. So my mom wakes up and it's about 9-10 o'clock by this time. So the contractions are starting to pick up. So I decided to grab my hospital bags. We got in the car. We had to run 15 minutes away to get my aunt and then go back through the town I'm from, so that's another 15 minutes, and then 2 hours to my hospital. So by the time we got there, it was like 12:30-ish, and the contractions were strong, back to back to back to back. It was bad. I wasn't screaming or anything, but I was starting to pass out from the pain.
Kathy's gonna be over here. She's gonna come to you. Shh. Shh. Turn over to her.
Well, we got into the hospital. They told me I was at 8, well, no. At first they told me I was at 4 or 5 centimeters. 5 minutes later someone came in and they were like, no, you're at 8.5 centimeters. So I started screaming for the epidural because I was scared. What 16-year-old would not be afraid to give birth? I was 16 for 13 days at that point. So I was like, yeah, epidural me. So I was having contractions back to back. About 2 o'clock is when they finally came in to give me the epidural. I'm gonna insert a clip of the epidural right here.
I'm going to give you some numbing medicine. Right where I'm touching your back, you're going to feel a poke and a burn. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, poke. 1, 2, 3, poke. So sorry. There's a burn feeling, Harley, that's going to last for about 10 seconds. And after this is numb, you won't feel the rest. You're doing great.
You are just so awesome right now.
All right, that should be numb in about 5 seconds here. We'll go ahead and get started. Okay, Harvey, so there's a good position to put this in, and that's where you put your chin. How do you already know what to do? It's perfect.
Push that back out.
That's exactly what you're supposed to do.
Your shoulders.
That was great. Nice job. Am I hurting you at all, honey? Okay, let me give you a little more numbing medicine here. Maybe I was a little too quick on the draw to give it enough time.
She's just doing so good. She is doing awesome.
She is. I don't know how she learned this position, but it's
I know. Well, you already done this before. The nurse just kind of told her.
Oh.
Girl. That's okay. Just breathe right through.
Are you guys okay with needles over there? Anybody feel like passing out at all?
I'm good. That's why I stepped back.
I feel some pressure here, Harley. It's kind of hard to describe. Kind of like a toothache-y, funny bone kind of feeling. Doesn't really hurt, but just strange. Even better. If I numbed you up well enough, you shouldn't, but just in case I didn't, I wanted to. So we have a girl in there? Lucy? Love it.
Elizabeth Marie.
I have a dog named Lucy, and she's my favorite.
That was the biggest mistake of my life. Seriously. I'll explain now. So, after I got the epidural, it was like 2 o'clock. I was still having contractions. What threw me off first is that I could still move my legs, and the doctor said you shouldn't be able to move your legs. So I was really confused, and then I was just itchy everywhere, and I was like scratching down my chest, literally to the point I was bleeding because it hurt so bad. I felt like I was just covered in hives. I was scratching my face. Sidetracked. Right about here is when I got the catheter, and they broke my fucking pee hole trying to get it in me because the 2 nurses didn't know how to actually put in a catheter, so they were just stabbing all willy-nilly, and they refused to let my mom in the room for that, so it was just me and her dad sitting there, blood everywhere, and he's like, whose blood, like, is that her blood? And I'm like, yeah, am I bleeding? And they're like, no, that's not her blood. Whose blood is... Who else's blood would be on my crotch? Dummies. Sorry about that little rant. It's still broken, by the way. It hurts all the time. So, be careful of that. That was... I had to get that because I got the freaking epidural. And I was at almost 9... I was at least 9 centimeters when I got the epidural because they waited over an hour to actually give it to me. So, after the catheter thing happened, I started to kind of zone in and out of consciousness. And this is the hard part that is hard to talk about. all of a sudden I pass out and I see the lights are dark, like it's dimmed in the room. I see flashing red lights on the side of me, and everyone's panicking. I see a bunch of doctors and nurses running in, people screaming. My doctor runs in. There was a code red announcement which was directed at me, and code red is basically, it's kind of like code blue but not like dead, like you're not dead. So code red announcement, flashing red, her heart rate dropped to 38 and it was at 170 before. They physically couldn't keep me awake. They had to put oxygen on me. The nurses kept shaking me to try to wake me up, and I just remember like zoning in and out, and like 1 second the nurse would be pushing on my stomach and the doctors would be screaming and bickering at each other saying, "Oh, we should do a C-section. Why are you doing this? Come on, she doesn't, like, she can't do this. Clearly she needs a C-section." And my doctor said, "No, the baby's right there. We just gotta get it out." So her heart rate dropped really low, and everyone was freaking out about that. And I think something happened to me too. I think it was either heart rate or something dropped, but I could not stay awake. I don't really remember anything other than the lights and me begging someone to tell me what's going on, and no one would. My mom was like holding the oxygen mask on me. At that point my aunt ran out of the room because she had a traumatic birth with her first, and that kind of triggered some memories, so she ran out of the room and started crying. And I was screaming like, "Where'd aunt name go?" I'm not gonna say your name because privacy reasons and everything, but I was screaming about that when I was like conscious, and that took about 10 minutes, and then finally the doctor decided to use a vacuum, which is basically like a suction cup that they put on the baby's head and pull the baby out. She decided to use that on me, and that finally got Lucy out. I remember them just, her throwing Lucy on my chest. And just holding her and hearing her cry. And I asked if I tore. That was my first thing I said. I said, "Did I tear?" And they said no, which I was so out of it. I don't even know why, but I asked. It was really traumatic though. We were so close to losing not only Lucy, but me too. And after the whole labor thing, like actual delivery, lasted 10 minutes. And I gave birth to my beautiful baby at 3:03 p.m. And it was amazing. But it definitely was very traumatic for me, and one of the hardest things I had to go through. I wasn't scared of labor or anything, or pushing her out. It's the fact that I almost lost her. And I don't know what I would do if I would have lost her, because she has changed me so much. And I wasn't ready to be a teen mom or anything, but I'm so glad it happened the way it did, because I couldn't even imagine my life without her. She made me such a better person, and She's the reason I cut so many toxic people out of my life. And it actually got my life to a place where I'm happy and not sad. And I just love her, and the fact that no matter what I say in this video, it will never show how truly traumatic my birth experience was. And the fact that I had to go through that to get to this beautiful girl is really scary. And being a teenager, having to go through that is pretty upsetting. So after I gave birth to her, I don't remember anything for 3 hours. And then the next memory I have is of everyone coming to visit us, but after that, everything was fine. We didn't have any other problems. She was perfectly healthy. She weighed 6 pounds, 10.2 ounces. She was 20 inches long, I believe. She was so healthy. She had just a slight bit of jaundice. No marks on her head from where the suction is, which is really surprising because usually there's marks and stuff. But yeah, she breastfed perfectly for the first couple days, and then we had to switch to exclusively pumping, which will be a different video. Yeah, everything was perfect. We got to leave the next day at 6 p.m. Got to take her home. I was recovering fine, which I'm gonna make a video on postpartum recovery because, ooh. So yeah, that was my labor and delivery and meeting my beautiful, beautiful oldest child. I inserted clips and pictures throughout this whole video so you guys could experience it with me, kinda. Even though she's a year and a half old now. But, I plan on vlogging this little one's full experience and everything. And once this is uploaded, I'm going to I'm going to dive on into this experience and share like gender reveal, her name, all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, stay tuned. Before I end this video though, I want to just briefly explain Lucy's name. So if you don't know me, Lucy's name is Lucy Elizabeth Marie Tollefson. Tollefson is not my last name or her dad's last name. It's actually my grandpa's last name. And since he was like a huge factor in my life and still is, obviously, I decided to give her that last name. Her dad was fine with it too. Lucy Elizabeth Marie part. I had a dream one night and something in my dream just said Lucy Elizabeth Marie, and I knew that was gonna be her name. I kind of debated on naming her Lucille or Lucy, but I went with Lucy. I hated the name Lucy before this dream, but whatever. Marie is actually my late grandmother's middle name. This baby is also named after her too. So yeah, that's just a little meaning behind her name. Elizabeth I just like that strong name first. Oh, and the reason why she has 2 middle names and this baby has 2 middle names is because I have 2 middle names and I want to carry on the tradition. So yeah, that's the meaning behind the baby, well, not this baby, that baby's middle name. Also, she's asleep, that's why she's not running around being crazy in this video. So let's come to the end of the video. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video, I guess. Follow us on our Instagram to keep updated on stuff. Stay tuned. Bye, have a good day.